Hey everybody, it's your favorite uncle here, Uncle Bernsey. We are about to play this last episode of the Citizen Sleeper DLC, and a bit of the last content I got for the Citizen Sleeper. So let's get back into it. Ooh, man, already 95 cycles in. Ain't that something? Trying to remember, where is this at? Okay, we got 2 upgrade points, and we have no drives because we're on the last little bit. Waiting for this to grow. The only thing I can think of for this little dice real quick is perhaps the waste. Although, let me see something. I don't have any club heads. I do have scrap, though. Dang. Love to start a bad roll. Anywho, we have to wait about 2 cycles. So what we're going to do first off today is fix ourselves back up. Just enough to have 5 dice. We're going to prep ourselves for the last one. Oh, I'm starving. Hold up. But I got bread, though. I got bread. I wish I can get food over here. That's what sucks. Although I don't really mind spending money, especially when I have a discount. Anywho, it's been really good playing this game over the past, what, like 2 months now? Got back into streaming with it. Well, not with this one, with Invincible a while ago. Been posting it on the YouTubes. Yeah, let's go to sleep now. End the cycle. But yeah. Yeah, it's been really good. I'm actually beating this dang DLC. That's one thing. Ooh. Give it up, y'all. I got the best roll ever. I should have just kept it. I should have just kept it. Oh man. I should have just kept it. Let me just get my energy back up then for free. Oh yeah, I should have just kept it. Can we buy any scrap before we get started? I got one more. Good. One more day, so basically when this all gets started, we can either buy scrap or something. Okay. Well, can't wait for Citizen Sleeper 2. I'm always going to just keep talking about that game. I did not get to play the demo for it. I wish I did. It was like a free demo for like a demo for like a little bit, and at least I got to see a little bit of it. They definitely expanded a lot of the systems here. Like, we're moving away from the eye. We're going to other stations and stuff. One more. Man, I don't really want to mesh with my condition again with those 2. But it's like gambling, you know? You just can't stop. Come on. Damn. Okay, I ain't testing it anymore. I'm good. That hurt. If only there was something to like work on condition besides scrap, but otherwise... Yeah, I don't have... I need one more for a synthesizer, or stabilizer. I keep saying synthesizer with this. I already have all my energy back, so I'm trying to think what else I can even do. I can get some Girol caps or spores. I guess I could bank on more spores. There we go. 2 spores. I think it takes like, what, 3 spores to get things. I can waste energy. Nice. So at least we'll have some more mushrooms on the way next time, but we can rest and get this DLC started. Let's see what it's called Purge, so let's see what we're gonna do. I think something's going to be inside of me in terms of like I am infected. That's what I remember last. I would like to have, I will waste the scrap on this one just so I can at least have 5. Purge, yeah. Let me at least get the scrap in here. I need at least, I want to at least have 5 dice. Watching this next one, it's going to be like, you need 10 scrap. You need 10 scrap to get past this one last thing. And it's like, wow, I only got 3. We may need a ship mine, but I at least have 2. I can sell these, cook some for energy, make some more, so I can't wait to get some more to get a stabilizer. At least we can homegrown stabilizers. But yeah, let's sleep one more time. End the cycle. Go ahead and put that on a shirt for me, McLam Chops. Put that on a shirt. I'm keeping these dice. I don't care. Keeping. Ah, it's Peak. Tell me something. If you were named Peak, would you like that name? Like Peak, P-E-A-K-E. Like just, I think that's how you read it. Peak. What's up, Peak? Peak. Anywho, Sleeper. Peak is waiting for you in the corridor. It's time. Peak looks pale and disheveled, with heavy marks under their eyes and strands of hair sticking to their face. I'm ready. My body is ready. Peak holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. Whoa there. I said my body was ready, but not for a drive. Yes, because then it lets people know that I'm in fact Peak. Yes, it's Peak with an E. You have to say Peak with an E. Oh, that's so funny. All the data I have compiled on the flux event, the effects of the wave, and the structures that hide within it is on here. You look at the tiny drive, a casket of dark secrets. Again, I said my body is ready, but please, I don't need a thumbnail-sized drive. I've annotated it to the best of my ability. Anyone should be able to understand the threat, the potential in this. Peak size. It makes for grim reading. Without intervention, the eye will suffer a cascading collapse of systems just like the colonies of Ember's moons. With intervention, that I'm still working on. Peak looks at the drive. This shadow in the flux, this protocol is so hard to pin down. It adapts to any countermeasures I have tried to deploy. It is like trying to hold water in a cage. It slips right through. There has to be a way. Peak closes their hand around the drive. We need help, Sleeper. This is about everyone on the station. We have to set up a meeting to tell someone who can do something about all this. Soul? Perhaps. Maybe the flotilla will have a better chance of survival if they have the data, but what about the eye? Will they protect it? I highly doubt it. Knowing what we know about Soul in them, like they're just trying to survive on their own. We'll see. Or perhaps, Peak adds thoughtfully, we've been thinking about this all wrong. Peak's eyes glint. Why make a choice when we can tell both of them? Why pick a side? Thank you, Peak. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I hate having to have to choose. Like, just tell everybody. And then we can make our decisions. Sheesh. Why pick a side when the only side in this entire thing is one we all need to take? Peak speaks as they think, their words barely keeping pace with their thoughts. We need to resist this together or we will fail. We need everyone on board, Sleeper. That is the only way we send the data to both. You are right. I'm glad you see it too. They look away. Another flux event is coming, and I'm sure of it. And I'm not sure we can survive without help. Peak opens their hand and holds the drive out for you to take. You need to do this, Sleeper. I can't. Oh yeah, very poignant. Very. I'm sorry, McLamchuk. Poignant. Okay, I got you. It's poignant. I'm messing with you, man. But anywho, they open their hands and it holds the drive out for you to take. You need to do this, Sleeper. I can't. You know, Soul. Or you know, I love how I sometimes just read a sentence. You know Soul, you know Helen, they trust you. To them, I'm just another spacer, but you are a part of this place. It's true, I mean, I helped save it already before. I'm just Peak, if you will. That was bad. Hearing someone else say it hits you hard. You are a part of the eye. Peak is right, but right now, that feels more like a weakness than a strength. I have set up a data relay at the cordon. It's neutral ground. Take the data and send it out to Havenage and the flotilla. Once they receive it, they will come. We can be sure of that. And definitely they will come. You will meet them there and take them through it all. No one could do a better job. They tuck a strand of hair behind their ear. And take them through it all. Why me? No, I'm kidding. You need to go to sleep. I appreciate it, Peak. Okay. Peak tenderly puts a hand on your shoulder. Thank you, Sleeper. I know this is hard, but we have to move forward. We can't keep this to ourselves no more. They step back, looking thin and pale in the harsh station light. Come talk to me once it's done. And they slip away into the eye. Well, I'm gonna hold on to these dice, but we should... Okay, so one more day, and we'll have a stabilizer, hopefully. I don't want to use these dice. Let's just continue. No? Oh, the cordon. Zooming through. Going to the center of it all. I wonder how everyone's going to react, but I'm glad we're just like, let's tell everybody. Everybody should know. Everybody should know what's coming, because even if you leave, if you go to another system with one of those drives they talked about that technically just teleports you via Star Trek, except you can't be human or organic because you don't want to be molecularly disassembled and reassembled. You don't want that. Ooh. May I have a ship mine fragment? You never know when you need a ship mine. You'll never know. I'm gonna have that on hand. Or let me just do this real quick. I don't know. Maybe we might need a ship mine. I already had 2 parts. Boom. You never know. Anywho, the cordon. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got a lot of flux data. It needs to be carefully decoded. Okay. There doesn't seem to be any drive. So that's kind of weird. That's suspicious. I know I'm not crazy. They said it was on like, oh, the cordon. Duh. It's over this way. Actually, let me get some food and we will continue this. Well, before we go into a whole thing to save the whole world in this case, let's order some fungus. Thank you, Emphas. Good food as always. By the way, you may have to leave. The flux is coming. Anywho, they said the cordon. That's over here? Yeah, cordon. Bam. The final episode. Once you send the data, episode Purge and the final series of events of the Eye will begin. After this point, you will not be able to return to complete other drives or find other endings. Make sure you are ready. We are more ready than we can be. The only thing is maybe I could just go. It's okay. It's okay. Let's start it up. We got 3 scrap. We can do this. With the data sent, the only thing to do is wait. As you do, you imagine Helen receiving the data, perhaps in the middle of some Havenage Council meeting. You think of her trembling hands as she slips out of the room to read it. Her reaction you can't predict. You imagine Soul 2, one of his crew, finding him in some corner of the Pilgrim Seed, overseeing the modifications that will turn it into an ark. Those sharp eyes scanning the data, looking for a way to proceed. Also remember that Soul offered us to, he said that there's still a lot of space on this, on the ship to basically take everyone from the Eye. He said like we can expand and we can get out of here because who knows if we can stop the flux from happening again. The wait draws out, and to pass the time, you watch the activity beyond the edge of the Eye. The scrap shuttles pulling components from the now abandoned cordon and the supply skiffs making runs between the flotilla ships. It isn't long before you hear the chirping of one of Helen's now familiar drones approaching the viewing platform, and then Helen herself strides into the room. Where did you get this, Sleeper? Helen holds up a slate scrolling with streams of flux data as she enters. I need to know your source. Girl, hey Helen, how you doing? Hello to you too. You didn't bring me here for a reunion, I assume. Helen smiles a thin smile. Then you'll forgive me for skipping the pleasantries. She pauses and pushes her hair back out of her face. Hey girl, it's good to see you again. We got work to do. This is a lot to take in. A shadow protocol inside the flux, the system's con channel starting up, a total collapse of the Eye. She rubs her forehead. If I bring this to the council, they'll... She turns away. I mean... They'll ignore you. She turns back to you, her face, her expression dark. Do you know what has been happening within Havenage, Sleeper? She looks away out of the flotilla. Since the refugee ships started arriving, things have changed. It's chaos. No one can settle on a single issue. There is a division at every vote, but in the division, only one group prospers, the hardliners. Because as each counselor gets tired of the arguments, gets tired of compromise, they become more attracted to the easy answers. Right here. Right there. I don't know why. I feel like this also screams America too today. You get so tired that you just kind of give up and then just fall in line, which, screw that. The flotilla is to blame. The refugees are opportunists. The eye must be defended. She shakes her head. And now you are telling me they brought something to the eye that will cause its collapse. They didn't bring it. It doesn't matter, Sleeper. That is all the counselors will hear. Ah, that's true. They want the easy answer, so they'll just say, well, they brought it. She closes her eyes, a hard hand to her temple. Many of them already presume that the refugees are somehow to blame. Did someone say refugees? Soul clanks into the docking bay, grinning at the situation. Speak of the devil, and well, here I am. His suit hisses as he settles on his cane. Helen glances between the two of you, uncertain if she has been drawn into some elaborate plan. Soul holds out a hand to her. Soul, he nods. I believe we have spoken remotely, while the cordon was still up. I sent both of you the data. Well, thank you. He raises an eyebrow. Evidence of our mutual inevitable destruction is not much of an olive branch, but I'll take it. I like Soul. Hey, appreciate it, bro. We're all gonna die? I'll take it. I'm not Havenage, Helen blurts out, then corrects herself. What I mean to say is, no one person represents Havenage. That's the idea. I did not support the cordon, and I did not support your quarantine. Well then, Soul glances at you. Anyone mind if I get myself up to speed here? He pauses, but you get the feeling he isn't expecting an answer. 1. The flux events, the very same destabilizing waves that collapsed the colonies on the moons of Ember, have reached the station. He holds up a stubby finger. 2, according to data Sleeper provided, these events are acting as a cover for some kind of intrusive protocol, which is causing the real damage, as the second finger joins the first. 3, this shadow protocol will do the very same thing it did to Ember's song, step, and hearth very quickly. Or hearth? I say hearth. Hearth? Tomato, tomato. In short, it'll shut down everything keeping this place alive. A third finger pops up. 4, and this is my favorite, we have no idea who or what is doing this, and why. Soul's final finger joins the other 3. Is that about the total of it? There's also another flux event coming. Of course there is. Yeah, that's the 5th one. Sounds, Helen pauses, searching for words, intimidating. Helen turns to Soul. Did you manage to put up any kind of resistance on Ember's hearth? He shakes his head. That's why we are here. The Pilgrim Sea was the biggest ship to make it out unscathed. I suppose we didn't have this data. We didn't know what was eating up the systems. We all thought it was the flux. As she looks at me, and I imagine you, Sleeper, and whoever helped you uncover this might be able to figure out a countermeasure. We can try. Okay, so that's the start of it. If you'll forgive me. Part of why I was able to save as many as I could on Ember's hearth was that I gave up hope early. He shifts his weight, his suit hissing. There were endless strategy meets, system reboots, tests, and trials, but I just got on with working on the Pilgrim Seed, with getting people on board. So when the 2nd and the 3rd and the rest of the flux events hit, we were ready to go. So if I can offer some advice, Miss Not Havenage. Miss Not Havenage, I love it. It is to give up on that line of thought you have, that hope, and to start the evacuation now, right this cycle. Soul looks out of the observation deck towards the Pilgrim Seed. I've already started the process of converting the remaining volume of the Pilgrim Seed for human habitation. With Havenage resources, I dare say we can finish the job with time to spare. He scratches at his beard. I know it's hard, and I know it's sudden, but you have to give up hope. We have to run. There will be no heroes here, just those that keep living and those that don't. Helen listens in, is it Helen? Helene? Either way, she listens in silence, making calculations. She looks out at the bulk of the Pilgrim Sea, which, despite all its vastness, is dwarfed by the eye as a whole. Something flickers in her eyes. She opens her mouth to speak. She stops, frozen. Let me think. She rubs her temple. I need a moment. She paces, and as you watch her realize, and as you watch her, you realize how young she is and how lost she is in the systems and protocols she has to navigate. You know, I didn't really look like, she does kind of look young. I just took her as like a hard-nosed person. Helene, yeah. Yeah, Helene. Thank you. Helene. Because it's that E. Because if it was no E, Helen. How lost she is. And you can also see the strings and ties that bind her, glinting like webs in the wide space of the observation platform. We purge the shadow protocol, or we evacuate the eye. Personally, I'm leaning on not Helen with the E. Helen with an E, thank you. Just like peak with an E. We either purge the shadow protocol, which so far we don't have an answer for, or we evacuate the eye. And personally, one thing is, if you're at any place with those elevators or those teleporters, essentially, you're gonna get these flux waves, but I don't know if we can stop it. I'm just gonna say evacuate the eye. She freezes. Evacuate. She stares at you with wide eyes. She glances at her slate, the flux data still scrolling. Helen with an E freezes. She glances at Soul, who is patiently watching, patiently listening. If we do this, there will be panic, chaos. Hundreds will die in the rush alone. She closes her eyes. You both act like this is so simple. It isn't simple, but it is necessary. She stares out at the strips beyond the cordon, their vast bulks pin-pricked by the flares of welding torches and blinking dock lights. Is that our only chance? You both jump as someone loudly clears their throat nearby. Your eyes jump to the dark entryway that Helen with an E emerged from just minutes ago. What? It's your Kemp. What's up, Kemp? How you doing, Kemp? I'm sorry. What's my boy from, what was it, Family Matters doing here? Like, look at him, he's just suave. That's my boy Kemp. Say hello to Kemp. Kemp. He's a counselor. Ooh, this is interesting. What a cozy little meeting this is. A man steps from the shadows, dressed in the same style of Havenage overalls as Helen with an E, or Helene. And I must say, that is some very incendiary rhetoric you are using, Counselor Helene. You glance at, I'm just gonna say Helene right now. Helene, and her face drops immediately. Kemp, she curses under her breath. So basically we have one of the hardliners. Soul shifts his weight on this cane, but otherwise remains still, like a casual observer. Plotting against Havenage with an interloper? He gestures at Soul. Everyone will be so disappointed. Kemp smiles a bright smile. Some of the councils had such high hopes for our youngest member. His smile drops. I, of course, never let novelty distract from the importance of experience. Helene stares daggers at Kemp. Enough of this petty shit, Kemp. You need to see this. She holds out her slate with an outstretched arm. The games are over. No more point scoring, no more lobbying. You and your hardliners need to stop. This is something real. Kemp calmly takes the slate and prods the screen, scrolling through the flux data. His face betrays nothing, but you see some complex calculation flickering in his sharp eyes. Kemp lowers the slate slowly and smiles at Helene. And what do you think this shows? Don't play games. You can read. The flux is a carrier signal for some shadow protocol, most likely corporate in nature. Maybe it's Solheim re-emerging to claim their station. Maybe it's a takeover, but either way, the station is under threat. You were right about that, but the rest? Conjecture. What we have is a virus in our systems which emerged precisely when the flotilla arrived. In fact, it times in perfectly with the mysterious event that freed them. So what I see is a hostile cyber warfare attack instigated by dissidents that fled. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I can't. This is all this rhetoric from Kemp. You're not my boy anymore, Kemp. I'm sorry. Yep, Ember's moons are after committing terrorist attacks on their own soil. Kemp's face darkens. That is the order of the facts. Nothing more and nothing less. Facts I'll be happy to present to the council. He tightens his grip on the slate. You think that's the only copy of that data, you sanctimonious shit? No, I don't. Kemp smiles, but who do you think they will listen to, Helene? Especially after I tell everyone about this little clandestine meeting. You couldn't win power by Havenage's systems, by our law, so you resort to this. The law is with me. It's as simple as that. He gestures, and out of the shadows, 2 Havenage security officers appear. Now, no need for that, Soul suddenly speaks up. His silence had meant Kemp had stopped paying attention to him, but now you notice he has backup of his own. A group of his crew stand at the edges of the rooms. They are carrying long, boxy guns. Oh, it's getting good. It's juicy. You've never seen anything like them on the eye. Glossy XPR logos glint along their barrels. These are Esh's guns. That's where that's where the guns went. Kemp freezes and the officers hesitate, holding back in the doorway. Be careful there, outsider. Kill me and Havenage will never forget. Sol waves a hand at him. No one is killing anyone, so let's calm down, as he scratches his beard, but I am going to have to ask you to leave. Helene glances at him and he gives her a gentle nod. And you'll leave your colleague here with me. He raises an eyebrow. We haven't finished our conversation. Kemp laughs and shakes his head. You are finished, Helene. The council will never allow you back after this. And then he turns and walks out of the observation deck, taking his officers with him. You all pause to catch your breath. Helene looks ready to collapse. Sol flexes inside his suit, nodding at his crew to check that Kemp has fully retreated. I think it is the best idea to just get off of the eye, in my opinion, only because how long can we keep this damn station running? Sol wrenches part of his suit back in place, grimacing. Your friends leave a lot to be desired. He shoots a glance at Helene. Seems like support for the evacuation might be a hard ask. Helene doesn't respond. She stares at the pilgrim seed once more, trying to process what's in front of her. She sighs and turns back to you both. I won't call for an evacuation. She looks at Sol. Maybe that is a fatal mistake, but I can't do it. But you have to. She ignores you. All right, I want you to remember that, Helene. And then you're going to be right there trying to get on this damn ship. I'm going to look at you and ignore you too. Until it falls apart. Oh wait, yep, it's falling apart. But, she pauses, I won't block it all either. If people want to leave, Havenage will let them. That is what I will propose to the council, she sighs, if they let me speak. I'm just going to have to say you have to try. I can't ask the youngest member on a council to do more than that, personally. She nods at you and Sol and turns to leave. Sol is quiet. He scratches at his beard. Good luck, he offers to departing Helene, but she does not respond. He leans on his cane. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. None of this changes anything for me. The Pilgrim Seed will be going in a handful of cycles, whether Havenage wants it or not. How long? Honestly, as soon as we are ready. I'm not eager to run down the clock to the last cycle. He puts a hand on your shoulder. There's a berth for you, and for any you can gather, Sleeper. That much I owe you. And Helene? I wouldn't hold out much hope of her coming around, Sleeper. She's too tied up in all this. It won't let her leave even if she wants to. Hell, I'd say the same about you, but you have a habit of proving me wrong. My crew will take me from here. Don't you worry. Sol straightens up. Oh, and thank you, Sleeper, for sending the data. I appreciate the extra info, and I'll see if it can help us shore up the Pilgrim Seed against any future flux events. If we had you back on Ember's hearth... He pauses, suddenly loses his appetite for discussing the past. Yeah, that's okay. I know. It's okay, bro. Of course, we are going to need all the help we can get. If you can spare some time, come to the Pilgrim Seed. Help me get it ready, bring others. There's a future to be earned here, cycle by cycle. We will be leaving as soon as we are able. If you want to help us get there faster, well, you'd be welcome. He meets your eye. Sol grimaces, well, just don't keep me waiting, and he limps off towards his waiting crew. You pause for a moment to let your thoughts catch up. Peak will want to hear about all this. They should be your first port of call. Yep. And we have our drive. Evacuate the eye. Now there's Peak. So what do they want? The prep. Okay, so energy or condition. Well, I mean, that's easy. But I think Peak might have another... Peak might be able to offer, like, what would they say? They would basically be like, we might be able to fight it off. Let's see. As you enter the climbing briar, you immediately have to jump aside as Esh, lugging a massive crate across the cargo bay, pushes past you, grunting an apology as she does. Reminds me of when we met. She sniffs and doesn't look back. As you turn back to the bay, Peak pushes past you, past too. Sorry, Sleeper, just a second. Peak rushes to catch up with Esh. Put that down, please, Esh, but she doesn't respond to their urging. We can't leave, not yet. Peak puts a hand on her shoulder. Please, I'm the only one here who can... The crate drops and the sound of its impact echoing around the bay like thunder. Can do what, Peak? Her eyes are burning with anger. Save this place? Are you still that naive? We are running, Peak. We are running because this thing cannot be stopped. It couldn't be stopped at XPR, our home. Why would we stay to stop it here? Because we can't, Esh. We can give these people a chance. Peek pleads with her. I don't want to give these people a chance. I don't know about you. Like they gave the refugees a chance? Esh shakes her head. No, Peek. This is not on us. We barely made it out of XBR. I worked for years to escape it. Now you want to throw it all away? I left behind everything. My mother, my friends, to take you out of that place. She turns and slams her hands onto the crate, breathing hard. We go. That's the end of it. Peek turns away. You feel unsure what to do, but you know now is not the time for outside arguments. This is between them. Peek crosses the bay back towards you. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sleeper. Let's talk upstairs. Peek leads you to the entry ladder, taking you up out of the bay and into the habitation level of the ship. You follow them through the tight corridors, noticing the handwritten notes, the clutter, the repairs, the signs of a home. Here, sit. Peek gestures to the broad mess table with its curved couches, and you slide in on one side. Peek sits opposite. They brush their hair out of their eyes and take a deep breath. So, how did it go? What did they say? I've been waiting all cycle. Tell them about Helene. Peek listens nervously as you explain how Helene said she will support your efforts to find a countermeasure for the Shadow Protocol. Okay. That sounds good. Much better than I was hoping, but what about the Council? Are they behind that, or will she operate alone? Tell them about Kemp. Peek looks increasingly troubled as you tell them about the hardline Counselor Kemp's sudden appearance. Damn. Then Helene's going to have problems of her own to deal with. Peek shakes their head. Looks like we won't be able to count on anything from Havenage. What stopped Kemp from arresting her? Tell them about the guns. Of course, those are the guns Ash managed to smuggle through to the refugees, the ones she didn't tell us about. Another thing that's on us. What's on us? Ash is standing quietly in the doorway listening. You don't know how long she has been there for. Peek looks up with her tired eyes. Sleeper found the weapons you smuggled from XPR. She freezes. She glances between you and Peek as if this might have been some elaborate joke. The flotilla used them? Ash moves out the door and enters the room. What happened? Be thankful that they didn't. They used them as a threat, that is all. Good. You get the feeling that she knows Peek will not approve. Peek goes to speak and then decides not to take the bait. They glance at you. I'm sure you've heard enough of us arguing this cycle, Sleeper, but our introduction of those weapons into the equation are just another reason why we cannot simply run away. She looks away but says nothing. She surely knows that they cannot absolve themselves of responsibility here, so what is motivating her? You realize that she still might be trying to protect Peek, even from themselves. Suddenly, a shrill beeping fills the room. It's funny how we didn't even talk about the evacuation. I should have just clicked that one. And Peek pulls out their slate to silence it, but as they do, they freeze, their finger hovering above the screen. The beeping continues its insistent pulse. What? Peek doesn't seem to hear you. They blink with glazed eyes at the slate, then let out a long exhale and tap the screen. The bleeping shuts off, leaving a ringing silence behind. Planning to explain? 12 cycles. Peek looks vacantly up at you both. 12 cycles until the next flux event. Sheesh. I've been using the arrays on the Briar to look towards the center of the system, to approximately where the con channel should be. Just this moment, they detected a signal from the inner system. Given the distance and pattern of previous flux events, we have 12 cycles before it reaches the eye. The silence in the room is deafening. 12 cycles, that's it, before a second wave hits in this place. And they interrupt your thoughts? We start now. That's the end of it. Peek stands up to face Esh. You want to take the Briar and run, Esh? That's on you, but I won't do it. They take a deep breath. I'll be here, Sleeper, for every cycle it takes, trying to find a solution. I'll need your help. Their eyes meet yours, and you see a wild desperation flickering there. We will find something. The sooner we have a plan, the better. If it takes us 12 cycles to fix this thing, it'll be too late. Peek's eyes flash with determination. They reach for a slate and pass it on to you, so we can keep in touch. You pocket the thin, handheld terminal. And Esh? Peek starts, but she's gone, storming down the corridor of the ship on a path to who knows where. You know from experience that it is impossible to outrun your fears, but you get a sense that Esh will try anyway. Peek rubs their red eyes, staring after Esh. Maybe I'll take a moment before we start. They smile weakly, tears of exhaustion gathering their eyes. See you back here soon, okay? You slip from the room into the corridor, Peek's quiet sobs somehow carrying through the ship behind you as you leave. Whew. Do we protect the eye, or do we evacuate on the eye? What say you, chat? So devise a strategy. Or we just prep the Pilgrim. Pilgrim Seed will take the majority of the evacuees off the eye, but is there enough time to settle them all? Yeah, no one else is talking. I really don't know what to do here. Should we help? Should we leave? That's tough. Okay. Got one more day for that. I hope I don't need scraps, man. You think it's possible to do both? And then, like, no, there's probably something right behind the next one. So it's like you'd probably just have to, like, go just start it. There we got the ship mind. Do I want to protect the eye that bad? I low-key just want to dip. Let us dip. Ooh, nice. Okay, so... Man, this is tough. Do I have a +2 in engineering? Because over here is all interface, again. Peak is desperately looking for a way to combat both the coming flux event and the shadow protocol infecting the station. So once you get this up and going, then you got to go do something else, and probably a total of 3 things. That'll take some time in between each one. Part of me wants to leave. This is tough. I'm gonna go with my gut and let's just dip. We're gonna dip. Yeah, we're dipping. This isn't like Wolf on Wall Street where he's like, I'm not leaving. No, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Getting out while the getting out is good, if you will. As you stop to rest in one of the Pilgrim Seed's cavernous bays, hopping up to sit on a supply crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you were here. Soul's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you. I knew you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. No worries. I do mean it, Sleeper. He looks away down the bay to where sparks jump from welding torches. It's a grim job to be doing without a few friends around. Soul settles beside you, flinching a little but making himself comfortable on the crate. Seems the word got out this way or that. He nods towards the welders a little way off, one of them wearing a shipyard overalls. We've had people flowing in from the eye, looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought, Soul sighs, which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. Can we do it? Well, we'll do what we can, as always. I'm not sure any of it can be enough. He looks down. We were supposed to stay here, not keep running. Don't listen to me. He gives you a sideways glance. Just a tired old man. I have something to ask you. To ask, though. I'm already helping! What is it? With all these new evacuees, well, we need a change in plan. Pilgrim Seed can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now, you settled down the folks from Ember Step, and they sent us supplies grown in those dust houses of theirs. If we could get more... And then the song crews. What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need that docking access of theirs. But with some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You earned their trust already. He put a hand on your shoulder. I sent my request out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there making sure the work gets done. We're gonna have a fleet, Soul? Time is our greatest enemy now. As he stares into the distance, I need you out there, speeding things up. Of course. All right, then. He climbs off the crate, his suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way, either way, you won't have to deal with me much longer. He smiles his uneven smile. Unless, of course, you were planning on to come along for the trip. I'm considering it. Lots to think about. Just don't let it get in your way. He waves a hand and starts off towards the bay's entrance, the crackling sound of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractor chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thoughts of escape, of home, and of the future to the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. Yeah. Let's go talk to... I kind of like this crew here. Maybe I could probably put up like another stream for like the other route so that we at least know all the routes possible. Because I'm not sure if I can restart on this one. I'm not too sure on that. The docking axis is in chaos when you arrive. The staccato burst of welding torches, the shouts of crews gathering, the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already that news of the flotilla's imminent departure has reached this place before you. Come to join the Exodus, sleeper? Peter approaches you from one of the working crews, a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. What's happening? He gestures to the chaos. The singers are rising, sleeper. I suppose you are here on Soul's orders again? Nothing Emperor's Hearth like to do more than ordering around people. I'm here by choice. Fair enough. Just your timing seems to always be a cycle or two after we get some requests from the Hearth ship. He shrugs. Must be a coincidence. Well, Soul has it lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and be the vanguard for the flotilla's onward journey to the Starward Belt aligns perfectly with our plans. What plans? To leave this damn place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapsed. If we can build our escape and make the Hearth ships think we are complying with their orders at the same time when it's a two in one for us, those idiots will never see it coming. You can't abandon them. We are our own flotilla, sleeper. Oh my gosh, why is it so tough? Oh my gosh, come on, man. We are our own flotilla, sleeper. He looks away at the busy axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to heart and step any longer. Why would we? Oh man. Can we just help each other and just get along to help them? They are taking on evacuees from the Eye, and that's what I heard. So how about they help themselves before they ask us to make up for their bad decisions? Look, nothing against you or yours, sleeper, but we have to get out from under the shadow of Step and Hearth. And this is the time. We won't let the flux catch us again. Not a chance. And for the first time you see fear in his eyes. Want to help us make that leap? Grab a torch, talk to a crew. You're welcome to it. Every person here is free to prove themselves. Let's see. Just a stop on the road, sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances out past the docking axis through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks you in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go. But if not, stay strong. And with that, Peter thumps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew with a purpose, a direction visible in every step of his rapid stride. Oh, come on, man. The crews of Ember Songs are effective but headstrong and stubborn. They need direction and management. The ship, this one is as the docking axis is dismantled and the individual ships refitted. As much of the, well, this is all engineering and engaged, nice. As much of the material as possible needs to be reclaimed. The ships from Ember Song will act as scouts and security for the evacuees. That means dismantling the docking axis. Oh, okay. Sure. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house, her eyes as bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. I mean, come on, Aki. I'm always there for you. Always. Good to see you, Aki. And you, sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust houses. You look inside and see other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending to the steppe ecosystem. We are to be the suppliers for the evacuees. I am sure you have heard. We will put the dust houses to use. She leads you past a dust house where the dust is less, the orange glow not as bright, the air a little more clean. We are adapting, slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. She smiles. The plants of Steppe are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. I really do like the fact that, like, their job is just to, like, literally be the backbone of food and clothing and all that stuff, which you never really think about when you're on in a space flight. Aki stops at a half-empty dust house, scoured of its sand. It is being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown, a strange sight, even to you, now that you are used to the amber dust of Steppe. I know. I admit it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? I will do my best. Thank you. I know that the eye is suffering and that it is at risk. I know what it is like. Thank you. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our loss on Steppe. She shakes her head, but for the moment I cannot see what that might be. As she gathers herself, if it gives you meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile, but if you do not have time, she smiles a weak smile, I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly. Sadness will not sustain you. This right here, right there, right there. Clip this right here, chat. Clip, no, I'm kidding. But no, seriously, if you hold on to your memories too tightly, I like that. Sadness will not sustain you. You're just gonna go hungry. She falls silent and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see a greening fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house. The first signs of new life. Don't be stuck in the past. Facts. Will you soon be like the people of Steppe, leaving behind a home, or will you be stubborn and hold your ground, despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment of welcome suspension in time, a rare moment in this rush towards an end. You glance at Aki and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, she sighs. It is good to see you, sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. I mean, whoever were the writers of this particular section, you wrote Aki well. I feel a lot of feeling from her just in words alone. No cutscenes, and of course, I just love the art, as always. Aki turns back for a moment, as if she wants to say something, then thinks better of it, and turns away. So, in short, it doesn't matter what you really do. Like, I think they're always going to leave, and then the eye is going to be the eye, you know? But, I like it here, you know. I like it. I like it here on the Pilgrim Seed. Devise a strategy. I can't help you, brother. Or my person. I can't help you. I can't help you. I'm going down the route of we getting out of here. That's why we're almost done with this one, and I'll work on the other two ships after. Do we have... Not yet. That's the next day. So let me use some of this scrap, so I can at least keep up with 5. And I think we can end that cycle now. Okay. All right, let's do this one for the berth refitting. Perfect. They just keep coming. Perhaps the flux event scared enough people that they really believe the eye will collapse. Perhaps they are sick of Havenage, of the council's infighting and the hardliners. Or perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future, a place that is anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla shuttles, on their own ships, however they can. You've seen so many faces pass that they are almost meaningless now, a parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the berths you've helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity, some with hate, snatching their bags and storming off. Come on, y'all, we're all in this together. Still, you help. Still, you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul, you know he is busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work, trying to fit as many people as will come onto the Pilgrim Seed. You know you will see him before all this is over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The eye is over. That is the thought. That the eye, even if the flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when these floods of people are leaving it behind? It's a thought that troubles you, because it makes you question why you have held on here so long, in a place that seems so temporary for so many people. Are you just a stubborn idiot? Someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong, committed for lasting the storm, for seeing the collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there is something you are sure of now. This place, like all places, is temporary. And as each phase passes you, each family packs up and gets on board the Pilgrim Seed, it feels ever more temporary, ever more fragile. Which means it either desperately needs protecting or it desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. Ooh. we dipping. We out of here. That's what we're doing. I think that's 2, 2. Okay. Intuit and interface. I don't think I have any bonuses, so. What would you do if you were in this situation where you know something's about to like basically mess up the whole infrastructure of your world as you now see it? And then like, what would you do? Would you try to figure something out to protect it, or would you leave? Reroll. Nice. As you can see with my choice, I'm getting the hell out of here. Ooh, I'm going to... Oh, wait. Let me guess. We have... Yeah. Okay, so we have the garden and stuff, but that's okay. I shall... use some more scrap. Warn people so they can make informed decisions, then work in whatever capacity I can to save it, while other folks work on an exit strategy that I will hop on at the last minute if nothing else can be done. I love how you're trying to straddle the line, man. Love that for you. But that does make sense. That's like the most like, let's just use the time that we have to do what we can. I'm gonna put the might as well at this point. But that's not bad either. You're basically helping people. Like we technically did that. We warned both sides. We warned the authorities of both. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Exactly. We prepare. What was it? We already said to both sides, hey, you know, I think that's everything. Okay. Like, hey, you know, we just tell them, hey, both sides know things, what they need to know. Well, we told leadership. We didn't just tell everybody, but I think the news already got out. As you can see, all these people going. And Havenage is like, okay, let's let them go. If they go, they go. We're not going to stop them, but we're not going to be for it, which is that sounds pretty neutral from the company. Actually, let me go get some food before we start anything. Actually, let me make sure I can actually get a stabilizer, please. There we go. Just need one. But yeah, after that, it's gonna be kind of tough. I'm gonna say it's kind of tough to try to protect, and in this case, it looks like you're gonna either put all your time into protecting or trying to find a way to get out. So that's a good way to think about it, though. Go. Yeah, leaving's not wrong at all, especially after what we've witnessed here on the Eye over the past month or so. So, let me get 1 second. Swiggity swoogity. Yeah, you can't save everything. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, the one where plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust, sharing the space in curving terraces. The pale knots of steppe silk feckled with yellowing lichel symbiotes. It is a hypnotic arrangement. I'm not gonna front with you, I would probably be on this ship. I don't know, there's something interesting about it. It's hard work, but once you see the results, it's really good. No, it's not because Aki is there. Don't get it twisted. You look down, and you see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots, and feel a little glow of pride as what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust houses hiss open, and assuming it is Aki, turn to greet her. Sleeper, I should have known you'd be here. Rico! Rico smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Rico! Now, has it been so long? She smiles a wry smile. No need for any drama. I knew she would be on this ship. This is the best ship, y'all, right here. I met some of the steppe refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly. She smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see, and well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. I'm glad too. I can see that. Rico limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Rico's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. I love, it's like my old mother, like an old mother or something like that. That's what Rico gives. I'm glad we can show her everything. You show her how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichel growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. Herbaceous, probably herbs. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. Also, this game is teaching me new words. I will just say that. Love it. I better learn new words in the second game, else it's a 0 out of 10. 0 out of 5, even with rice. Anywho's, she stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes, and I think I've decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here, is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange artificial change remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I'm old growth. No! 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 I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle, she frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that's time I want to spend on the eye, in the Greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day, I'll lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles. The tear tracks down both cheeks. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. But you could leave. You know, Sleeper, when you get to my age, you stop thinking about what you could do and try to better understand why it is you act as you do. Boom! Bars. You try to understand why it is you act as you do. I mean, I'm like, what, 30 now? I am on that level of like, why it is do I act the way I do things, you know? Instead of just, what can we do next? I know I will stay. I just need to understand it. Why is the game coming with bars in like the final bit? She wipes her eyes and turns to you. From an ACT therapist, yes, learn your values and what makes you tick, of course. Because if you don't know what makes you tick, you don't know what'll also bring you under when the pressure starts mounting. Oof. She wipes her eyes and turns to you, but that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is, what are you planning? Bars. Yeah. It's true though. I mean, I came up with that on the spot, but it's, man. I'm thinking of going. I'm staying. I don't know. I am just gonna say I'm thinking of going. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper, to know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know, but you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Oh. She suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing oh my god. With carefully preserved root systems, I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. Oh my god, see? Thank you. I love you, Rico, because she's like, I know you are going to die if you don't have this. And if you all remember, there was an ending where we went on this ship with Mina and Lem, and we didn't have the club head spores, and we eventually passed on the ship in that epilogue, or that ending. It sucks. We left her behind. It hurts. Even her dad died. She looks down at her feet, and if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that at least. Thank you. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Rico stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while, she calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around, she says it casually, but there's a note of finality in her speech. See you around. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She is looking through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Rico with her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? More than that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? For now. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path, a farewell from my world. Wait, I didn't say I was gonna go. I'm going. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist and you see her pointing to the clubheads, asking questions. You are unable to hear them, but despite that, you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the clubheads, the greenway, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light. Despite the burdens you carry and the smile Rico and Aki are sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. I guess it's because at the end you can still choose to not go and stuff, so. Engineer, give me a second. Let me see my upgrades here. So engineer, I can get scrap components, and engage, we can get energy. Okay, I'd rather do the engineer bits. You never know. Okay. Alright, let's go to sleep. Well, wait, we don't have enough energy. It's always energy, man. We got bank, so let's just go get Emphas. Yo, if Emphas were to come with us, you saying I can eat good while in space? That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, interesting. Okay, let's go sleep here. We should have enough for 2 nights, so we can stay at 5, and then we could probably use a stabilizer. I do know I can still go and get some club heads. I just don't want to waste dice yet on that. I only have 2 more tries, actually. I could... Yeah, no. Yeah, I think we should just probably get rid of these already. Dang. Not able to get a club head. Oh, now we get a club head. Come on. Grow, my mushrooms. Grow. Damn, 12 cycles, man. That goes by quick, actually. You think this is going to be a lot of time? It is not a lot of time. I'll take the energy hit. That's not bad. One more. And, ooh, we're gonna lose. I don't have any. Ooh, no. I kinda hate to use a stabilizer here. That's fine. We'll go with 4 dice this time around. Okay. I will use stabilizer now. There's no better time. starving, but we'll fix that in a second. The docking axe is a little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking, has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter, I'm just gonna keep saying Peter, because I don't know how else you would pronounce this, since you last spoke, and now you're realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, the shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too, the moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice, perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones, or to debate why they haven't left yet, and whether they should. Among these singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you see the occasional refugee, a paying passenger, or a replacement engineer, or a pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that, whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in with the singer crews, they will have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with the crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Oh, Tala! Tala? You freeze for a second. What is she doing here? She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without thinking. Good to see you! She pulls back, and you! She smiles, but then it quickly fades as she realizes the context in which you are meeting. She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper, She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the Starward Belt. She waits for your response. Why didn't you say? Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother? You think back to your Jarol blurred conversations in the back of the Banteon. He came here with me, with my family, when we were little, just after we left Sinza. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the Starward Belt. What if he's in like the second game? That'll be cool. Actually, I think it takes place in the Starward Belt, if I remember correctly, the second game. She sighs, I'm an idiot. She shakes her head, and I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. That makes sense. She looks at you. It does? I'm not so sure anymore. I really don't know if it makes sense or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Well, how did you hear? I work in a bar. I've heard every bit of gossip this place has to offer. Speaking of the Banteon, she meets your eye. Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis. He'd be happy to, or one of the others. And of course, if you were leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes. It's no pressure. It's fine. Whichever way I was just thinking. Yeah, I'm not staying. Right. I could ask someone else then. But she glances at the crew she was walking with, who are chatting a little way. There's not exactly much time. So considering that, she grabs the key hanging around her neck. The key... Wait, what? Do you want to do it? I just said I'm not staying. I can't. Sure. She leaps forward and embraces. Thank you. I couldn't be leaving in better hands. Oh, I'm dipping. She don't know. She pulls the key from around her neck and places it around yours as if presenting a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back, and remember to empty the still if you are leaving things closed for a few cycles. She stops. I won't be gone forever, of course. I can come back and check in, but maybe once I find my brother, unable to finish that thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight of lifting off her shoulders, her eyes already drifting towards the crew, the ship, the next big thing. She's ready. I better be going. I love how I said yes, and it's like, well, I'm also going on the ship too. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down the curve of the eye, towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. Oh wait, she's on the Singer's ship, so that means she might be going a different direction. I wouldn't have been able to leave it if I hadn't made things work here. Dad wouldn't have let me. See you around. Hope so. Then Tala turns, heading back to the crew who will carry her to the Starward Belt. You watch her go, and Despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on that bright path. You hold the key in your hand, the metal still a little warm from Tala's body. You turn it over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool and a burden. You can still lock up and leave, you figure, but now that will feel like breaking something fragile. And if you stay, well, who knows what this little metal promise might grow into. Yeah, I'm gonna lock up. Bam, we got 3. Endure. Thank you. We're almost maxed out. Okay. Oh, that's it. Huh. Yeah, that's everything. Well, in terms of that one side. It looks like we have enough time to help. So, let's go help. Got nothing else to do. The fact that you can do this one very quickly. Almost there. That's the neutral. Oh, I didn't get the doubles. All right, now. Ooh, I'm starving. Hold up. I need food. Actually, no, I am quite starving myself right now. So I'm with this right now. Condition may not be fully up there, but starving, yes, definitely starving. Cannot wait to eat and feast. What is this? Unload containers, buy some scrap. That's what I'm talking about. Just give me the scrap. That's all I'm asking for. Beautiful. Thank you. Scrap helps. And I need food. I know I passed the food. See, this is why you just gotta have that big amount of money. What was her name again? Ankita? Yeah, go do her mission if you want to have like 400. That's literally where I got all this money from. Oh, feels good to have a lot of money. Ooh, we're below 200. Yeah, of course it's gonna say the same thing. Okay, let's go back over. I don't think there's anything up here to do besides like work. Yeah. Bliss's Bay. Bliss is gone. I can get money. And buy a spacer meal. The only thing is, like, once you're done up here, there's like no point to this area. Like, you don't even come back up here like that. Sometimes I think something will like change, but alas. It's just empty. You can get money if you need some bread. I still got bread, so we're good to go. So let's sleep. Have 5 dice for tomorrow. We will actually have enough time, I think, to set up both endings of this. So I hope I can go back like after the end credits and do the other one. Or like choose the other choice, if you will. Yeah, let's just use these. So let's see what we can figure out with Peak, with an E. Peak beckons you over the wide mess table where they have set up a terminal. The hours of blary-eyed work have left you both drained, and Peak looks ready to collapse. You slide onto the curved couch beside them. Something dark and malevolent filling their screen like an oil stain. Also, I just want to add the soundtrack for this game, immaculate, sensational. The Shadow Protocol, not quite. Peak's eyes seem to glitter in the screen light. This isn't what you think, Sleeper, not by a long shot. You're looking at the screen, leaning in close to the dark, curved shape to see its texture. You see whirls and currents like a river, a dark flow unlike the Shadow Protocol's dark tangle. You know exactly what this is. You have swum in this river, almost drowned in its shifting flow. It is the Gardener's Chorus, the dark cloud which blankets the Greenway's networks. The bioorganic morass of a malfunctioning protocol grown vast and strange. The Gardener. Pete glances at you. How do you... They pause. Have you met them? I have. Shakes their head. Incredible. Then perhaps you won't be surprised by what I am about to propose. Pete meets your eye. Everything I have tried to do to contain the Shadow Protocol has been a failure. It slips through any containment, absorbs any countermeasure. That, unfortunately, is an unavoidable fact. And yet the eye still spins. The shadow protocol is being slowed, partially contained. It has spread across the station, as we have seen, but in reduced pockets, in fragments. So I started to look outside of our test cases, outside of these fragments we have been poking and prodding in our little lab. They smile, and look what I found. He taps a key on their terminal, and you realize the screen is showing a recording of the data flow inside the eye's networks, sampled from hundreds of points around the greenway. You watch as a subtle shift occurs at the edge of the flowing dark curve that blankets the greenway, something spreading like an ink stain, something darker than black. It bleeds across the shadow protocol. Now watch. Peak eagerly points at the screen. You see something strange, a fizzing at the edge of the shadow, a sparking, and then it is gone. And beneath for a moment, a millisecond, you see into the networks of the greenway. You were reminded of an image you had forgotten, of pulling a plant from its pot and seeing its bone-white root ball where you expect to see dark soil. The white connections writhe like worms. And then it is gone, the dark flow closing up as quickly as it opened. It dissolved the shadow. Exactly, it protected itself. You think back to your meeting with the gardener, to that sense of something old and world and inhuman to its core. Peak excitedly starts to explain, this is the only chance we have, the only countermeasure we have seen. I forgot about the gardener, man. That's crazy. But like, the gardener does give me inhuman, and it does not care for humanity like that. Well, it's neutral. In the moment it opened, I detected something, a centralized intelligence with the local ID Gardener. This protocol, this system, whatever it is, can protect its network from the shadow protocol. But if it stays in the greenway, the eye will still fall. The station's systems are too exposed, too spread across the hub, the shipyards, the spokes. Pete glances away. The only way is to break it open, to spread the entity's network across network access. Spread the entity's network access. Expand it somehow. You want to let the gardener out? I've been inside there, Peak. And this gardener, can they help us? You try to remember what that strange being said to you, but all you remember is the feeling of dissolving into that network. The heady mix of growth and decay, the ceaselessness of it. Would they protect the station, or would they simply dissolve it? I don't know. Peak stands up and walks away a little. They lean against the countertop, their head hanging so low that their long hair touches the work surface. You hear them breathing deeply. I don't know, Sleeper. I really don't know. But it's a chance. It is a chance, maybe. You know as well as Peak that this is it. You know it because over the past cycles you have run every simulation, every possibility you could think of, and still come up with nothing. You've stared a hole into your screen and dreamt of that black shadow creeping in at the edges of your vision. Peak recognizes the look in your eyes, the potent cocktail of resignation and anger. Let's say we do this. What do we need? They begin to answer their own question, thinking out loud. I suppose we'd need to do two things, find a way to limit or control the gardener's spread, and then reconnect the greenway. Peak starts pacing, the idea's coming quickly now. Controlling the spread means preparing the station. Limit the gardener's network to key systems. We don't want it taking everything, we just need it to protect the station's core functionality. I just feel like the gardener in the greenway, I think it would make like the plants like sprout everywhere, because that's why the plants are like thriving and stuff, but I don't know. Then we need to reconnect the greenway, hook it back up to the main line of the network. Those systems we prepared, they should connect, and the gardener will spread along the paths we prepared. At least that is my theory. But if we don't prepare correctly, the gardener might not spread, or it might spread to everything. And after that, things might get worse. I mean, it's a risk. One hell of a risk. Peak sits back at the terminal and brings up a map of the eye, rotational control at the hub, life support at the free spoke, power routing at the Havenage shipyards. They stab at the map with each one, marking them in red. So we got the Havenage shipyards, free spoke, and the hub. Gotcha. Then there's the central core. As I understand it, it is somewhere on the rim. I need to find it. They push the hair out of their face. We see the gardener in all these places, but how are we going to do that? Bait the gardener's attention or transplant the greenway? Of course, the gardener needs plants to care for, and that is what their protocol dictates. They must have been part of the farming management systems of the Eye, back when Solheim built it. We seed greenway plants into those systems and the gardener will seek them out, protect them. Peak stares at the map of the Eye. It's a wild idea, but it could work. But we'll need a way into those systems. Havenage Havenage have most of them locked down for safety purposes. We can't just walk in. Well, good for you, Peak. I know a guy. Peak raises an eyebrow. Someone in the Havenage systems team? You nod. After everything he dragged you through, you feel like Fang still owes you. Time to pay him a visit. Okay, well, he looks at you sideways. Or they look at you sideways. I guess we should pay him a visit. That's why I said him. Lead the way. You both leave the ship, carried forward by the excitement of the plan and an eagerness to not look at the details too closely. You push any lingering questions to the back of your mind. Time to head to Fang's Bay. Ain't nothing else to do. Yeah, we're on Protect the Eye now. Interesting. To Fang's Bay. Oh, here we go. Find Fang. Fang isn't in this bay, and no one in the office upstairs seems to know where he is. Your lone clue is an out to lunch note. Oh yeah, he's a difficult dude, of course. Oh, I got enough to finish this one up. That's it. No more wasting time, Peak sighs, and pulls out their slate. They crack open a box on the side of the bay's shutter and wire the slate to what's inside. Maybe your friend has a Havenage pass card or something inside. Peak shoots you a glance, something they wouldn't mind if we borrow. Let's wait. Peak doesn't look like we haven't got a time to wait. Come here was a mistake. After a few tense moments, the shutter jerks and begins grinding open, the noise making you jump. Let's get inside, quickly. You slip into the dark of the bay, punctuated by the blinking lights of Fang's piles of servers, somehow even more disordered than before. Peak makes a beeline for the desk at the center, scattered with tools and components. They flick on a lamp and stare at the mess. Are you sure this person can help us? Yes. You are interrupted by the sound of footsteps from the entrance. Someone has come in behind you. Peak freezes. I could swear I closed this shutter when I left. Now this lean makes sense. This boy got swag. Fang leans on a stack of servers near the entrance. Must be getting forgetful, he grins at you. Sloppy. I'm the one who makes the joke, Sleeper. Don't start. Fang raises an eyebrow. Thought you'd come rob an old friend, is that the plan? Need your help. You're here about the flux. Peak nods and is subtly giving Fang their full attention. Fang smiles, pleasing himself. I guess that's much. I saw changes in the old system architectures almost immediately. Some of them have been running since the first days of the station, and so when I saw new patterns, shifts in logic, I knew something must have happened. These past cycles I've been doing a total inventory of the core systems, from the hub to the rim. I've surprised myself, to be honest. I didn't think I had it in me. Peak seems unamused, and what did you find? That's the thing, there's something all twisted up in the systems and protocols, but every time I look at it, it disappears, Peak finishes. Fang turns to you. Do they always do that? Peak ignores him. It's a shadow protocol. It's masked. Actually, real quick, I love the fact that it's as if they already know the pronouns of folks in here. So it's like, do they always do that? I just love that. Peak ignores him. It's a shadow protocol. It masks itself somehow, bedding into the gaps between the systems in the negative space. It is slowly filling every system in the station, slowly taking over, and we need to stop it. You need to grant us access to all the core systems of the station. Rotational control, life support. Oh yeah, definitely easy to learn and respect. It's not that it's, yeah, it is, yeah, easy to learn and respect for sure. I think the part that gets me is that this is Fang's first time like meeting Peak and looking at Peak. Fang's like, yeah, they, them. So yeah, what is this? Is this what they do all the time? And that's it. I do love it though, really do. Life support. Fang holds up a hand. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down there. I don't even know your name. Fang shakes his head. And you are asking for the keys to the castle? Can't be done. Fang, it's me. Fang pauses and glances between both of you. How long have you known this one, Sleeper? I know I owe you, but I also know that you trust too easily. Sorry to say it. Hey, how would I have helped you, Fang? Pete cuts in. I can vouch for myself. I came to the Eye on the run from the XPR colony Hawthorne, with the intent to keep running until we hit the Starward Belt. But since I have been here, I have done everything in my power to protect this place. I have helped to stabilize the refugee flotilla, to investigate the flux, to identify and make a plan to purge the Shadow Protocol from the station's systems. Meanwhile, Havenage has done everything to stop and slow these actions. I have proven myself as a friend to the people of this station, not the administration, many times over, and I will not be doubted by someone who wears the badge of this corrupt administration. Peak fixes Fang with a hard look. Okay, that's bars. You ain't gonna tell me I've been with the people. Fang looks down at his Havenage jacket and shrugs. This is all I have in my wardrobe. I mean, you didn't have to go that far. This is all I have in my wardrobe. Look, I have no love for the council either, friend. But someone has to run this place, and that someone is me. Fang walks over to the workbench where you are both standing and digs a slate out of the pile of tools. You want to prove yourself? Show me. Pete grabs the slate and you recognize the tangled form of a flux node on the screen. Pete immediately starts tapping away at it, its tendrils unwinding in the shadow, just slightly delayed, slipping out of sight. Fang leans in. Interesting, he says to himself. Before long, Pete has unfolded the system completely and it lies splayed out like an unwound ball of string. And at the center, with nowhere left to hide, is the dark stain of the Shadow Protocol, visible for all to see. So what now? Fang asks, his eyes fixed on the screen. How do you kill it? You can't... I'll let Peek answer. There's one entity on the station that we have seen purging the shadow, the Gardener. Who's that? Some Greenway hacker? Peek glances at you, more like an avatar of the Greenway itself. You explain the Gardener to Fang, the feeling of descending into the flowing river of consciousness. You explain the network chorus, the non-human collective of voices. You tell him of the farming AI's offer to you, to be networked into the chorus, dissolved in its flow. Then you explain that by granting it access to the Eye's major networks, you hope to reinforce them. Fang is silent for a moment. And you want to let this thing out. He shakes his head. That's the kind of stupid plan I dream up. I'm screaming. Damn, you really are friends. I like it. I like it. That's what I'm talking about. This place is rammed with weird protocols and forgotten intelligences anyway. What's one more ghost in the machine? We tried to limit it, of course, Peek explains. That's why we want your help to access the Eye's major systems, to seed some of the Gardener's spores into them, to draw the Gardener's focus to those places. So the way we save the Eye is by growing mushrooms in all the server stacks? He glances at you. Sleeper, congratulations, you found someone weirder than you. Thank you, Fang. Peek goes to argue, but Fang holds up his hand. In it is an all systems Havenage pass card with his picture on it. Take it before I change my mind. Thank you. Don't mention it. Fang gives you a look. In all honesty, Sleeper, I was on my way back here to start tearing the place down. The Shadow Protocol had me spooked. So if you are telling me you have figured out a way we might fight it, he looks at Peek. No matter how crazy, then I'm glad to help. He smiles a tight smile. Come with us. No, Sleeper. He looks away. I have to keep on with my work here. Strengthen those systems, back up the data. The worst comes to worst, I'll need to rebuild. I won't let this place die. The last pieces of my parents are here, among the data. Goodbye, Fang. Fang embraces you firmly. Stay safe, Sleeper. You take the card and leave the bay with Peek. Once you are outside, they stop you. We should split up. Peek looks worried. We've wasted enough time as it is. Head to the facilities in the hub, the Free Spoke, and the far side of the shipyard. See the Gardener there. I'm going to go find the core control center that's somewhere on the rim. They hold up their slate. I'll send you a message on your slate when I have something. Good luck. They squeeze your shoulder and you exchange fearful looks. You know deep down that Peek isn't sure that this will work, but they have decided to act, to move with confidence, and for that confidence, you are very thankful. Oh, right. I love it. We just got to make a decision and then just go. Just go. What's over here? I see. Oh, what's this? Oh, I gotta go get spores. Oh, we need spores. Oh, I had spores. Oh my God, I had spores. It's okay. I literally had 3 spores. I'm tight. So this is for 2 spores. Wow. I love it. It went from a 2 to a 1. The best reroll ever. And 1 spore. Okay. Is there another one out here? So access the seed. Oh, access and seed the systems. We got one over here. One right here. That's okay. Let's go to the one far over here. Oh, wait, you need 3 per? Oh, that's terrible. Or no, I think that's for each of the 3 things. Good. Okay. Well, gotta go get some more spores. And we'll be over here. End the cycle. Looks like we're gonna have enough to like get both options up, and then we just choose an option. Okay, not too bad. I just need my my spores, please. Nah, I want a guarantee. Give me a guaranteed one. Thank you. There's nothing on this side. Okay, so I know those other 2 systems are over here. So here we go. I think it said the spoke. Yep. There we go. As you leave, the slate peak gives you chirps insistently. You check and see a message. Found a possible entry to the core facility in the low end. Meet me here, ASAP. Peak. A blinking marker gives their position as on the free spoke side of the main block. Better head to the low end. Ain't nothing else to do but make some money. Yeah, there they are. You arrive at the coordinates given by Peak Slate, a rundown but active corner of the low end, where a short glass-roofed alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street life go by. Children hop across the grids, scratched into the metal floor plates, playing games of their own devising, while older residents sit and talk or play tabla. It is hard to believe that all of this is a threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How can some intangible protocol erase all this? As you are watching, a voice calls out to you from one of the tablet tables set up along the way. You move a little closer and recognize the sitting player immediately. Caster sits, tabla pieces and board ready in front of him, smiling at you. Sleeper! Oh man, I love Caster. I hope we get a character like him in the second game. Let's see. Ooh. The thing. Oh, there it is. So, Sleeper, my partner has not arrived for our usual game. Come, please, take her place. He beckons you over, standing and nudging you to sit down with him. A rematch is in order. You owe me a game. Almost immediately, Caster begins the game. Everyone on the eye knows how to play tabla, the methodical movement of the counters across their triangular points, a ready fit for the rhythm of life on the ramshackle space station. It's essentially just backgammon, though, right? I've never played backgammon before in my life. I need to actually play it. There should be an app for it somewhere. Most games begin the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused only on achieving their optimal early game setup. But there is a moment in each game where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate the crossing of the counters across the board, a point of contact, when routine becomes negotiation and negotiation becomes conflict. As this moment arrives, this subtle shift in the texture of the interaction, Caster begins to speak. I find myself surprised by you, continually, Sleeper. He looks over his glasses at you. The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious refrain, a defensive, protective quality. But in your tabla game? He pauses to move a counter. I see only risk. Have you been watching me? He sighs. Let's not be paranoid. You are aware of my interest in you, are you not? Risk is, of course, necessary to play tabla. To move a piece is to expose it, but it should be done with calculation, with proper analysis. Then, if the piece is taken, Caster moves a counter, taking one of yours with a practice swap, placing it beside the board. It is already accounted for. But you move forward with abandon, as if risk was just a secondary effect of action. A consequence, not its primary guide. He gestures for you to take your turn. A cause. I play my way. He smiles. Indeed, that is all I seek. You move your piece. This locks you into being reactive, if you don't mind me saying so. You are responding, which means you are being led. He leans back to consider the board. This place, it mirrors you, Sleeper. It is also reactive. It was born from a crisis, the collapse of Solheim, and ever since it has been reacting without any central guiding principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at our refugee crisis, for example. It is all reaction, all risk-taking, and little risk calculation. At first I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcomes, but now I find it exhausting. It always amuses me that this place is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility on the eye. Spun from the rim, he laughs again. What better metaphor could you find for disorder? But why am I telling you that? That facility is precisely why you are here. He smiles an unsettling, warm smile. You feel a shiver through your body, as if something has changed in the air. How do you know about that? No words come out of your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watching from behind frosted glass. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Castor is still smiling. The risk you are planned to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take. Castor's tone is unshifted. He speaks as if this is still some casual conversation between passing acquaintances. You are leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see, calculating outcomes, that's my specialty. That's why I'm here. I was hired as a conduit for risk. As a collector, oh, this is his actual true thing. As a collector of data that might pertain to its arrival. He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flicker across their surface. A shimmering stream of characters. This system, this station, is already theirs. Solheim's collapse meant a corporate fire sale. Assets changed hands. My employers, Senate bought out the entire system and for the past decades have been its one valid owner. He polishes his glasses diligently. But to possess this system, the H1 system, he pauses, Helion to you. Well, that is a matter of risk. Of how much force, how much cost, how much conflict a clearance would take. He replaces his glasses. That risk must be calculated against a favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing that would warrant the risk, but the markets change, the demands shift, and Senate we analyze, we follow, we respond. He puts his glasses back on his face. H1 is about to become the most important system in this part of the galaxy. He glances around. The lone con channel operating within range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that feeds the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, re-evaluating the risk, reclaiming our property, starting up the con channel and clearing the way for what comes next. He sits back looking at the board. Holy crap! So basically it is corporate. Give it up everyone, clap for yourself. We all knew it was the corporations all along. They're trying to clear everyone out so that they can have a blank slate to start off of course. You will kill thousands. You manage to force out the words. Castor looks a little surprised. I'm an analyst, Sleeper. I will do nothing. He shakes his head. Senate is a corporate body that will take the required actions. Of course, I do not need to explain myself to you, but in a role as an analyst, in my calculations, I see great promise in you. In your ability to enter systems, to shift them to your will. Wow. Actually, I wish I could make my face right now where it's like, oh my god, it was a corporate entity the whole time? Oh my god, wow. Is it greed, everyone? Yes, it's greed. Let me see. I see great promise. Yeah, shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has this capacity. I assume you know that. He smiles. It truly is a wonderful happenstance of Essen Arp's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it. He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces. As you watch, you realize the inevitability of his victory. I will make you an offer to come willingly or come by force. This station will collapse. We can be sure of that. But your ability to work with data? Well, for an analyst, that is very intriguing. He pauses to push his glasses up his nose. Very intriguing indeed. He glances around. Come with me as a collaborator or as a prisoner. Consider the risk. On one hand, almost certain death. On the other, a possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Speak now, Sleeper. The game is forfeit. You must see that. He holds out a hand. You are of value. You are need. So, because I have value, that's why you need me? But if I was like your buddy, you're like, well, you're gone? Ugh. You feel a slight release in the inertia that grips you, enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Castor's hands, that you cannot move from this place if you wanted. Sleeper? You hear the familiar voice above the crowds. Sleeper, I'm here. You are unable to turn your head to see Peak, but you notice Castor's eyes following them as they come up from behind you. Then you see Castor's eyes glance down towards his hands, concealed beneath the table. Sleeper! Peak comes around the front of the waves and waves a hand in your face. We were supposed to be meeting, remember? They glance at Castor. Sorry, am I interrupting something? You cannot speak. Castor shoots Peak a wide smile. Hello! You must be a friend of Sleeper. You watch one of his hands lift. Close to his body, some dark shape concealed in it. A weapon. You try to scream, to shout, but Castor's attention remains partially on you, and while it does, you can do nothing. Pete glances at your static form. What's happening here, Sleeper? Like, Sleeper? You okay? As Pete stares into your eyes, you see Castor behind, his hand lifting, the dark object unfolding, and in a split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Pete, shifting away from you. As you do, you feel the inertia lifting, and you know this is the only moment you will act. I'm shoving. Move! You lurch forward wildly, like a sprung trap. Your head strikes Peak's chest and then carries back into Castor. Somewhere, some digital screech is echoing through the walkway. They tumble together, and the object in Castor's hand skitters across the floor. You realize the screech is you. You get to your feet, grab Peak, and run. You run as hard as you can, the scream chasing you down the walkway as you shove through the residence, Peak dragged behind. You run from the cold grip of whatever power Castor had over you. The signals that locked you in this body of yours, that broke the connections and crawled up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Peak collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. When they are able to speak, Peak asks you to explain. You tell them everything Castor told you, about Senetstat, about their claim on the Helion system, their reactivation of the Con channel, the Helion system's growing importance. It flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear these words coming back to you. All you feel is the need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the vast cold eye that has turned to look at this system, the ghost limbs of corporate control that are extending their reach. Peak is quiet for a long time. Then they speak. We have to finish this, Sleeper. They meet your eye. We have to complete the seeding of the systems. We have to set Gardner free. So at this point, you're right. If the choice is between Gardner and these people, I will choose Gardner every time. Their eyes are cold and steely. I would choose anything over them. You stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. Peak looks at you grimly. I can take you as soon as you are ready. Time's almost up. This is the only shot you'll have. Okay, cool. Ooh. At least I have a Intuit for 2. Ooh, and the condition's -1 compared to -2. That's interface, yep. Good stuff. Crack the facility. The facility Peak has led you to is decaying, derelict, but they promise the core is still active. You just have to find it. Ho ho! I love the reroll, man. Wait, hold up. Oh, that's a neutral outcome? Okay, we should be good. Good. Actually, I'm gonna go to the Tavla bar. Where's it at? Is this it? Or the Batalan. Let's cook some stuff here. Okay. I've never used these actions before, so it's really cool. I can save money. But I like going to Emphasis Stall because he's cool peoples. Okay, let us go back to our repaired unit. -2 energy, minus. Oh, I didn't even notice all this before. Okay, we're still good there. I'm gonna hold on to scrap. You never know when you need scrap. Ugh. It's very annoying, if you will. I will take this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cycles left. We can do it. We can do it. You gotta believe. Sleeper, here. Pete calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core. They smile. This is it. It has been a long set of cycles hunting for a path through the derelict layers of old Solheim offices and workshops, but finally, here it is, the path down to the core. You rush over to Pete. As you do, the doors grind open, the dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. You look at Peak, who nervously gestures for you to get in. Sure, I'll step in. The elevator bounces a little but stays stable. You glance back to see Peak watching you nervously. They follow you in sheepishly, just a little nervous. Peak reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind close. The elevator sets off, screeching through the floors as it does at an unsettling loud volume. I'd feel more comfortable if we spoke. Peak raises their voice over the noise. It's not going to be a short trip. How's Esh? Peak pauses. I was thinking more like small talk. Elevator talk. She is packing. Once Esh has set her mind on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean. The screeching of the elevator fills the silence. Will you leave with her? Peak thinks for a moment. I don't know, Sleeper. I honestly don't know. Part of me wants to run, to keep running for as long as I can. I'm used to that. But another part is done with that. Is done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? I mean, isn't that like what Rico, was it Rico or Aki? No, Aki said it, right? Gotta settle, like, you have to just settle down with yourself. Gotta know yourself before you make, no, that's Rico. You gotta make it, you have to settle, you have to know why you're making the choices that you keep making, else you'll just keep on, you know, keep making the decisions forever. So that makes sense. Pete goes quiet, and you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop and the doors ping open with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Peak. Time to move on. You both walk out into an atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling, once simulating a summer sky, now degraded into a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Peak crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side where you can make out a fading sign in massive peeling letters, Central Control. You follow, helping them lever open the partially powered doors until the motors kick in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Peak tumble through, across the damp metal. As you stand, you are greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors, and transmitters dominates the center of the room, its flickering LEDs reflected in the scattered puddles that surround it. Despite the decay, the warped panels, and water leaks, it is still running, just as it has for decades and decades, since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it has been since anyone has been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Peak. This place is a still living piece of history. What is this place? Peak stares. One of the central facilities of the station. The primary one for the rim, it looks like. They shake their head. The heart of this place. Peak takes a handful of mulch out from a small bag. It glitters with spores. Now we seed the place. They cross the server and start packing the mulch deep into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep into gaps in the paneling, laying it across the hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast piece of cylindrical hardware that Peak is stuffing mulch into. You run your hands across its plated metal surface and watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whirring like a physical disk drive starting up. Lean closer. You put your face against the metal, smell the hot air venting from the hardware. Heart was the right choice of word, you think. The whirring shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down. As you listen, you hear it modulating into a voice. Sleeper, you freeze. You are here. For a moment, you are afraid, but something in the tonality of the voice is... It's Navigator! Oh my god! Another drive spins up, and another, giving the voice a richer, multi-tonal sound. I had forgotten what it felt like to speak like this. The drives skip. There is a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. What are you doing here? The drives squawk in unison. Did you imagine the flux, the shadow protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of the station? A high whining begins. They are all the more dangerous to us. I have been in hiding once more, jumping from network to network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes. A low rumble. I had thought my hiding days were done. For the moment, I have found myself a safe haven here in the core. The shadow has yet to breach this facility, although that is a temporary state of affairs. The rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. That's why we are here. Oh, like that's why we are here. We have a plan. You explain to Navigator about Peak's plan, about Gardner's resistance to the shadow, and how by seeding key systems you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan, the drives were, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I am not sure what will be worse for us, hiding from the erasure of the Shadow Protocol or the assimilation of Gardner. The drive's paused to reset, but we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardner into the systems you have seeded. A pause. It is correct to do so. Thank you. The drive squeak in affirmation. You have notable persistence, Sleeper, even with such poor probabilities of success. I will be curious to see the outcome. The drive squeal, the motors giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Good luck. A final squeak of affirmation and then the drive skitter and slow to a halt. You step back from the towering cylinder, staring at this vast piece of Solheim hardware. This whole place is built from ghosts, you think, from old protocols and company hardware, from engines that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is its inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? Ooh. I'm telling you, the writing, they went, like, I know this is the fresher writing of the series here, but man, they're doing a really good job. It seems to depend on who you ask. Done. Peek's shout breaks your line of thought. The heat and damp should help the spores germinate quickly. If we are lucky, there is enough time for some growth before we reconnect the greenway. They glance at you. That's it. All the facilities seeded. They sigh. We either just ensured the eye's survival or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of the most important computers. They laugh weakly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the doors and the elevator beyond. Yeah, this is crazy. If I had to just like take a second here, it's like, I don't know. It's like you really could stay. I just don't know what the Gardener's going to do to the place. Is it just going to be neutral and be like, oh, hey, look, there's some mushrooms here. I should take care of it. It will protect from the wave, but like for how long, I guess. Take one last look. You wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect, but while you watch the lights, you realize something. If the eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own stories, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that, but the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive that is in the veins of every person in this place, that will. And that is what you are trying to save. You turn your back on the core and follow Peek back into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Peek raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founder's Gap to finalize the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know and we let the Gardener out. The sooner the better. Peek furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. Ooh. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they are ready to go. Unleashing Gardner could affect them too if we aren't careful. This will work. Peek nods, opens their mouth to speak and closes it again. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways, but before you do, Peek embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly towards an unknown future, and then they let go and slip away, the pressure of their hug fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. That's our person, Peek, though. Yay, I got an upgrade point I can't do anything with. Actually, I probably could have a maxed out person, because I think I started this game with a bad hand, and I lost, I had to use 2 points. So technically, I think I almost had all the points. Oh well. I don't need all this money. Okay, cool. Oh, I still got a 6 here. What else we got? No active drives. Interesting. Wait. Let me just make sure there's nothing else to do. It doesn't, yeah, it looks like we gotta wait for a day here. So, I'm gonna go get some mushrooms. These things do happen, yes. Yes, indeed. Okay, that's fine. I can still make another stabilizer, though. Cool. Otherwise, I think this is it. Just let's go to sleep. I will use one of these. Okay. Good dice. I think they said to go a particular place. The sooner your preparations are complete, the better the outcome. I think we're good on preparations. Where do we have to go? Not here, right? Yeah, that's for scrap. Mm-hmm. Is it up here? Bliss's Bay. The lounge. I know I'm not going crazy though. Yeah, there's no drive. And that's it, yeah, there's no new thing. That's kind of weird. I don't like that. It says not to do it like right before the end. They did say to, Peak did say to go to the flotilla and help. I guess this is like your time to, if you did Peak's part, this is where you go and fix everything else, which, I mean, we did, so. Let's get the rest of these mushrooms then. Oh, there is an achievement for that. Hang on. I just remembered. I think there's an achievement for selling mushrooms, which I've yet to do. That's not it. I could have sworn there was one. Let me see. Oh, I remember. It's, where is it? Right here. It's to steal the shipments bit. Midline security. Loot boxes. Yep, there we go. And I like how it just stops everything here. That's cool. Good. I think I only need 2 more achievements. Yeah, I have 25 out of 27. They're both hidden achievements. I think they're for the ending of this. I might actually completely get all the achievements here. This is gonna be glorious. Okay, so what else do we have here? I don't know, gamble? Nice. Good. Peak slate chirps in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection is ready. Meet me at the Founder's Gap. Greenway side. Peak. You clench your jaw. It's time. It is time to become one with the machine yet again. Or die trying. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance to the docking tunnel for the Founder's Ferry. They are leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how different they look from when you first met. I mean, they still got the same artwork, but you know. There is a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word, solid. Sleeper, they spot you, and a small smile crosses their face. Glad you came. I mean, I wouldn't be anywhere else. The smile grows. Crunch time. They shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel into a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate, and a torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peak ducks through a fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines, so this place has always been on borrowed time. I've managed to weave together the old connections and run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile, just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Ash would be proud if she'd bother to help. As Peak goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage, with compartments on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see where Peak has levered off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it snakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some huge and exotic serpent. You did all this? Peak nods. It was an interesting challenge, plus it helped me keep my mind off things. Peak smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one. The ends separate, fitted with multi-pin male and female connectors embraced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the greenman will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Wow, we're actually making history here, y'all. Peak shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing their hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause, or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. Just do it. Are we sure this is right? And it isn't crazy. It isn't crazy. Peak nods. I mean, I'm not being funny, Sleeper, but this whole thing is crazy to me. Peak shakes their head. Leaving Hawthorne with Ash, join the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the flux, the shadow, everything. They laugh a hollow laugh, so I suppose this is at least consistent with all that. They take a deep breath. Okay. They look at you with mild panic. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it close. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed, and the connections thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridor, into the dark on both sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you are waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning, or lurch on its axis? For the power to go out, or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peak's eyes and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand to their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to just burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires, like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and rests there like liquid roots. Peak sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere, and now it is out. It can't be put back in, that much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil, soaking up the gardener and their chorus, the gaps filling with a burbling constant, growing life. Peak stares at you, waiting for something to happen, anything. Gardener is free. Peak nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Peak's slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process. But when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. What happened? Peak's mouth falls open. It's Esh. They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they have turned away and are moving up the passageway, back towards the entrance. Peek! They don't turn, don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by their slate's torch, disappear rapidly around a corner. You take out the slate Pete gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around you look like the pale roots in the harsh light, and you turn away from them. They are gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Peek panicked, running towards the cordon, realizing that their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they will be able to persuade Esh to stay. If Esh is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You are not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way back into the lit corridors of the Founder's Ferry Dock. Castor is waiting for... Oh, you tight? You upset? Although I do like the hoodie and stuff. He holds up his hands. Now, sleeper. No need to fear. He raises his eyebrows. I understand now it was my mistake to try to force you. A miscalculation. Why are you here? Good. Questions are good. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I am more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you here, sleeper, Castor stands to the side, but I wish to speak. You listen, giving Castor his opportunity. Castor nods. At first I thought that, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of your particular talents was the opportunity. He smiles a broad smile. But you are more than that, and I understand that now. Because you failed? Your arrival on this station, your ability to touch the networks, this makes you the very definition of a wild card. He touches the rim of his glasses. Senate stats analysis, my analysis. We could never have accounted for you. This system, the Helion system, is about to experience a significant change, about to open up to Senate stats bailiffs, Conway's claimants, and every industry and element an active con channel brings. Yet this very cycle, you let another wildcard free, Gardner. I have to admit, this development makes me afraid, Sleeper. It makes me afraid what an intelligence like this will sacrifice to protect itself, or what atrocities it might commit through madness. And yet, Castor's eyes glint. What a compelling object such an intelligence is. Let me protect you, mark you out, keep Senestat from eliminating by force or legal expediency you as they will with every other squatter on this ring. Castor clasps her hands together, and in exchange, when the Senestat comes for this place, you facilitate the handover. You calm the protocols. You give us the gardener. Nah, never. Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. Aw, little bit there. Disappointing, you begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly in an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You are a great value if you ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is his slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or just another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way. You're done with him. You head towards the cordon, Peek and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. Yet, I'm not with you, Castor. You can shove it. Is there anything else here? Nah, okay. You arrive into chaos at the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed along the edge of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the Eye. The fear created by the Flux event become a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the Eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You are unsure what you think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peek's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You are tired of these questions and instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot Peek and Esh at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowds, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear their voices over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathering around them and their shuttle. You have made your decision, Peek, and it puts you against me. I have the higher ground now. I'm sorry, I had to say that one. Esh is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp, while Peek argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene but intimidated by Esh's evident strength and attitude. Basically, she's a bad bitch. I'm just saying. And they're not messing with her. I love it. Esh, it doesn't have to be like this. Peek looks desperate, tear tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Ash shakes her head. I have always protected you, Peak. I have taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here, and not with me, despite everything. I have chosen to stop running, Peak cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Ash? Ash turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne. What it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle. To live under the control of my mother, of the administration. To work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place in the very same system is any different. What is there here but the same grind for other masters, for employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles? There may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control. There is power in action here. So what then? Peak shouts. You run from everyone, anyone or everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom, in search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Esh, even if it is broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. Esh pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We are both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Peak. You are free of me. Esh, please. They hold out a hand. There is a life here if you want it. Esh turns and smiles at Peak. Her eyes wet now too. Then you live it for me, Peak. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp. The evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. You watch as the shuttle closes its lamp, lifts off, and leaves the bay. The crowds are dispersing now as they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them to reach Peak. Peak doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper, Ash is gone. She chose to leave. Peak nods. I've known her my whole life. They wipe their face, but since we arrived, we've been going different directions. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Esh well. I know that. Sleeper! The shout takes you by surprise, and as you turn, you see Soul coming across the bay towards you, the last two shuttles loading up behind you. He reaches you, his suit hissing as he does. Can't believe you make an old man run across the bay to get you. He pauses to take a breath. The Singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of those Singer ships, on her way to the Starward Belt, and hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. What are you smiling at? Soul interrupts your thoughts. They forced our hand. We have to leave now. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Pilgrim Sea will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. Anyway, I didn't plot all the way over here to tell you that. Soul looks between you and Peak with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word, and I kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to take it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of Helian's sun. You think of the long journey to the Starward Belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here on the Eye, of Peak beside you, of the Bantayan, of Tala, and the key that still hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. We're here. We made it to the final decision, I believe. And I'm sorry, Peak, but I gotta leave. Aki's waiting for me. I gotta get back on that ship. But no, I'm gonna do the leave. Personally, even for me, after playing through this whole game, I'm tired of the Eye. Let's do something different, you know? So, leave. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm leaving. You say the words and they seem to carry your heart out of your mouth with them. You feel lightheaded, spinning, as if you tumbled out of the bay into open space. Soul nods. Come on then, let's go. You freeze for a moment. Feeling Peak's presence beside you and the moment to speak disappears. Good luck, Peak. Peak nods. You too. They manage to squeeze out the words before going silent. And then you are walking with Soul across the bay. Almost without trying, your step light and your head spinning. Oh, it's moving. Soul grips your hand to help you up onto the shuttle ramp, and as he does, you feel the thick texture of his worn hands in great detail, as if you were touching some cratered landscape. You grip them tightly as you get on board. As the ramp begins to close, you see Peak watching at a distance, their face half covered by their hair. They raise a hand in farewell. As they do, you see something in their expression that you can't quite place. A sense of determination, perhaps, or a compressed anger, something that will drive them forward from this point on to a future you can believe will be better. And then the shuttle ramp closes, and the metal box you are inside rumbles and tilts. Some of the evacuees with you screech at the sudden movement, but they settle as the ship carves its way out of the bay towards the flotilla, towards whatever comes next. When you arrive, there you will find a berth, just as Soul promised, tucked in amongst hundreds of others, like a strange neighborhood of tiny flats. The communal canteens, the water supply, the farm stacks, these shared spaces will become the center of this new reality. The places where stories are shared, where signals and messages from the ships of the system and the eye itself are interpreted and discussed. You will find yourself unable to resist listening to any conversations about the eye, any scrap of data or detail. This is how you will hear that another flux event hit not longer after the flotilla left, one that knocked out the power for the whole free spoke, they say, disconnecting the hub from the rim for many cycles, one that crippled many systems and cost many lives. But the flotilla, having departed with enough time, will outrun the flux, and you and all the evacuees will be thankful for this mercy. You will also hear of the strange growths that people started reporting around the station in the wake of this event, fungal crusts that pushed the pipes and wiring. Rumors of the eye going wild and fecund will travel quickly around the Pilgrim Seed, telling stories of a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. As your long journey across the system becomes a dull routine of the same faces and places, you will delight to overhear that the eye persists despite everything, that crippled systems are rebooted and replaced, that the new seasons of growth and decay bring with them a plenitude of resources and surprises. You will hear that Havanage's hardliners have fizzled out, losing their grip on the Havanage Council. In their wake, Helene, or Helen with an E, will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havanage's overreach, returning them to the caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. And after a long time, you will find the stories of the eye become less, the signals and messages fewer, replaced instead by a new array of broadcasts, this time from Senate Stat, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. These messages will set the rumor mill of the Pilgrim Seed spinning, and you will rarely have a moment when you don't hear mention of that company and its claims. Occasionally on the long trip, you'll make a pilgrimage to the dust houses on a supply shuttle and gather club heads from among the mulch. You'll talk with Aki as they are processed into stabilizer, and hear of how the plants are changing, adapting, becoming ever intertwined in this new and unprecedented ecosystem. And then in the final part of your journey, as you reach the far parts of the system where few signals travel, and the starward belt girds the system like a defensive ring, there will be distant reports of another fleet entering the system under the banner of the all too familiar Conway extractions. By the time this happens, you and the evacuees will begin to discuss these events. Less and less, perhaps in the hope of avoiding being implicated in the coming corporate war. And finally, one cycle far from this moment, you will arrive at an asteroid port in the Starward Belt, one you have yet to know, and you and all the evacuees will be released into it. In that moment, half a system and hundreds of cycles away from the eye, you will think back on your time there with equal sadness and fondness. And then you will step out of the Pilgrim Seed never to return, and once more try to make a future for yourself that might be different to those false futures promised to you so many times. I do like that in the back. But for now, you remain on the shuttle, angling its way towards the bays of the Pilgrim Seed, carrying the hopes of all who tremble quietly within it. And in this moment, you feel the eye release you, just as Ash released Peak, and it feels so good. That's what I'm talking about. Love the people that jump over the age. Love the people that wrote this. Let's see real quick. I mean, that was a good ending in and of itself. So let me see where it puts us after the continue real quick. And if we say continue and here, let me see where it places us real quick. I wonder if it puts us right at the... Oh, good. It puts us right there. 1 point. Yep. Ooh, okay. We can probably get the other ending now too. I want the other ending. Oh yeah. I want to at least get the other one. Yep, chaos. Yep, now let's go and see this other ending real quick. And I'll read that one off and we can officially end the stream on this game. Granted, this time I didn't take Caster's offer, but I don't want to be a part of the corporation. She chose to leave. There's Soul. Gonna speed through this one. And we stay. I'm staying. Let me see. You say the words, I'm staying, and the moment you do, the weight of it all seems to descend on you, then stumble a little, and then stand straight. Refusing to be crushed, you feel a tightness in your chest and a haze blurring your thoughts. Sal nods. Good luck, he sighs. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. In the haze, his pitted and rough hand feels so real, so detailed, that it grounds you. And then it is gone, and Soul goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing, and then another hand falls on your shoulder, and it grounds you once more. You turn to see Peak's bright eyes. Let's go, sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on their feet, Peak puts an arm around you and steers you toward the entrance to the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off and angles toward the flotilla. You don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Peak beside you, holding a little of your weight, and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you made, remind each other why it is important to keep going despite the moments when it seems impossible. You will keep each other going. That support will be vital when the second flux event hits the eye, when it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion, when it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark or start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do while the world seems to come apart around you. I kind of wish it kind of shows that. That'd be kind of cool. And yet somehow the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and Peak, they will signal the awakening of a new force within the station. That new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measure. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the flux event, fungal crust pushing through pipes and wiring. The eye will go wild and fecund, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There will be a strange and unsettling beauty to this paradigm shift as the greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. It kind of reminds me of the Mass Effect ending where they just became one with the machine. Riko will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and until her final day, she will delight in the new mysteries the Eye and its gardener produce. And as this new era consolidates around the station, you will find yourself in the Bantayan, most cycles, working to keep the place alive. The cycle where you invite Emphis to come make use of the kitchen will go from a one-off event to a regular occurrence, and soon the Bantayan will be filled with spacers eager to try the best preparations for the station's now abundant mushrooms. Oh, so Emphis came to the kitchen. That's cool. And on occasion, after a long shift at the Bantayan, you will hear the sound of the stray mealing, and you will crumble up some food and sit and watch the cat eat as if it is the only thing in the world that matters, in your world that matters. However, into all this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Senatstadt, frustrated by the Eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the Eye will be punctuated by wide-channel broadcasts from Senatstadt, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Havanage's hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip. In their wake, Halim will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havanage's overreach. And this is the same from the other ending, so returning them to the caretaker role. As the cycles roll on, the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway Extractions, making counterclaims on assets within the Helian system, and many on the Eye will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably towards a corporate war. And Ever on the eye, and ever on the eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by a strange new growths and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Helion system descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices, and the smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They settle around you like a veil, and in time, it will be impossible to see the eye without seeing its many variants and versions, past and potential futures, and this masking of the world will mark your approaching end. And one cycle far from now, that accumulation of memories, of taste, of people, and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there is only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay, two figures born of crippled systems, linked together, continuing despite your origins. And in this frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learned to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. I want y'all to know that one right here. Keep persisting and to believe that a future, any future, is possible. Cool. Nice. So we got to see both of those endings and it kind of ended up the same. So thank you everyone. It was a longer stream than usual. I went over the time, but hey, we had to finish up this game. And Citizen Sleeper 2 will be out at the end of this month, I think the 31st. So I'm definitely playing that. I gotta see what they're gonna do in there story-wise and if they even mention the old Sleeper. But otherwise, thank you for this journey in going through Citizen Sleeper. For all of my lurkers out there, all the people that love to come into the chat, appreciate y'all. And for those on YouTube, thank you for watching this as well. Like, subscribe, and follow as needed. Otherwise, this is your favorite uncle, Uncle Bernsey, signing off. Peace.